Welcome to the Bombshell Business Podcast, where driven women in business learn how to become more bold, brave, and unwaveringly confident. Feel empowered and challenged through inspiring stories and tell it like it is advice for business, life, and leadership. All right, Bombshells, welcome back to another episode of the Bombshell Business Podcast. I'm your host, Amber, the Velvet Machete Hurdle, and we're just going to have another rockin' week of talking about how to become a more bold, brave female entrepreneur through practical solutions and straight shooting advice. Before we dive into today's episode, which is how to launch a mobile loyalty program for your small business with Bombshell Business Expert Keith Troup, our expert on mobile marketing, I, as always, have to do a shout out because I just love it when y'all leave ratings and reviews about the show, because when people go to iTunes or they go to the podcast app, rather, they're searching for things. And then what do you do first? You go to the ratings and reviews, because we all depend on that to make decisions nowadays. And so when you leave a rating and review, that gives another bombshell the confidence to listen to the show. So I very much appreciate that. And I want to give a shout out today to Veronica Effortless Travel. She says, I found this podcast a few months ago and have been a devoted attendee ever since. As a small business owner, my time is extremely important, and finding something that provides consistently valuable information like this podcast is hard. Amber is very knowledgeable and offers helpful advice and worksheets that deliver. She is helping me get my poop in a group, and I'm thankful. Yay! So anybody who doesn't, maybe you're a new listener, get your poop in a group is definitely an Amberism. It's a much more genteel way of saying what we probably all want to say. So I appreciate that, Veronica. I appreciate you being a listener, and I hope that you share what you learn with other bombshells so that we can continue to grow as a community, and not me, but share your knowledge with other bombshells, and we can all lift each other up as we are doing this whole business thing together. So let's dive into today's episode. Y'all know Keith. He is the creator of the Bombshell Business app, and I hope that you are enjoying that. I hope that you are sharing that with your friends. I mean, there's easy ways to share that. Text it to your friends, share it on social media, leave reviews for that too. That's just a huge, huge tool that bombshells can use to connect and learn and get things super easy, like videos and podcasts and all the blog posts that all of our experts are writing and that I'm writing. So just a reminder, Keith is a creative mobile marketer. He develops and creates mobile marketing and branding app solutions for businesses, venues, events, and organizations. He leverages everyday life experiences and his business knowledge to help business owners connect, engage, and build relationships with existing clients and new prospects, and to establish loyal brand fans utilizing mobile marketing media solutions. Mobile is everywhere, and your business should be too. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Keith Troup. How are you, Keith?
I'm great, Amber. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm like the super nerd this week. I'm all into tech, and when I'm thinking about our bombshells, and they tend to be a little tech phobic. We've talked about that several times, and I was thinking yesterday, I hosted a webinar all by myself. Usually, like, I have another person helping me. I had 2 different computers set up. I had my whole studio set up, all the lighting, everything all on my own. I ran the show. I mean, just everything. And then I edited a podcast by myself, and like, there's all these things that I did. And at the end of the day, I was like, dang, that was a hard day. And 5 years ago, I would have lost my mind. And so
yeah.
I just want to, as we were going into talking about these more, I mean, I don't think that an app is any harder than managing a website. In fact, I think it's easier. But I want to encourage bombshells, before we even dive into what we're going to talk about, that Amber 5 years ago did a recording for a podcast episode, and something didn't go right with the audio on the other side. And it was it was like a senior vice president of a Fortune 100 company at the international level. And I packed up my stuff and I put it up, and I didn't podcast for 2.5, 3 years after that. And I haven't done a webinar in 2 years. And sometimes you just have to suck it up and do it. So with that, you've got some groovy ideas to help our fempreneurs really tackle this holiday season and beyond. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about how to launch a mobile loyalty program for your small business. And, one of the things that if you shop at all, if you go out into the real world, you find loyalty is being offered like all over the place. And so if you're not offering that, you're really missing out on an opportunity for your business, because I feel like a loyalty program is vital for any business owner.
So explain, what is a loyalty program? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, absolutely. A loyalty reward program that I use quite a bit is one that Starbucks offers. They're very well known for offering free coffee if you have purchased a certain number of coffees or you spend a certain amount of money. You can choose a free drink, or you could choose a free food item by earning that reward.
Yeah, my husband and my daughter are both super Starbucks loyalty program people. So let's talk about okay, what if I am an online entrepreneur? How could I use a loyalty program?
Well, if you're an online entrepreneur, you can use loyalty to drive people to do things you want them to do, make purchases, to get them to participate in an event you're going to have, or a webinar, or any number of different things. Most loyalty reward programs are often done by a physical thing that you're going to perform, because usually the loyalty reward program is honored in the physical store or at a physical location most of the time.
Yeah. So there is a way to do that, but the ideal situation is more for like a hair salon, or maybe a boutique, or a pizzeria, or a coffee shop, or something like that, a local brick and mortar business.
Yeah, but it's not limited to that. Let's just say, for example, that it's your business and you're a speaker, and you're hosting an event where you're speaking in front of an audience, either public or private. You could do a loyalty reward program based on an activity that you want them to participate in at your speaking engagement.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that. So people are at a conference that I'm speaking at, and then they download my app, and then I say, hey, while you're at the conference at XYZ Hotel or Resort, do what? When you get to my session, check in, like how would that work in real life?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's many different things that you could encourage them to participate in doing. You could create activities for groups to do together. You could have them complete paperwork. You could have them share, openly in front of the group. I mean, there's any number of tasks. They could have to go around the facility and find certain things that you've left for them to discover, like a scavenger hunt. I mean, really, you can get as creative about creating loyalty as you want for something like that. And the point is, at the end, you got the results that you wanted, and you're going to reward them because they participated in what you wanted them to do.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, how do you attract customers with a loyalty program? Like, how do you use this to actually generate to expand your customer base?
Well, let me back up for just a second before we go there and talk about why a loyalty program is vital for a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a couple of things I want people to understand about why it even matters. For one, loyalty builds relationship, and it shows that you appreciate and value your customer. And if I feel appreciated and valued, I'm going to be more likely to come back and spend money with you again and again, which brings me to the second point, because what it does is it creates more cash flow for your business. It's an opportunity to create repeat business, whether I'm a first-time customer who's just discovered you, or I'm an existing customer and you'd like for me to shop in your establishment more often. And loyalty also can provide an opportunity to introduce a new product or a new service that you kind of want to see whether people like or don't like.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, let's just say that let's say you're a coffee shop or you're a salon, and you want to offer a new product or service that a new haircut, or maybe it's a new coffee, or maybe it's a new pastry. You could offer a reward for people to try that, so that you could get people interested to let you have some kind of a feedback, whether it's good or bad, whether you should keep it or not add it into your product line or your service line. And oftentimes that's hard for a business owner to know how to get feedback from people. But with a loyalty reward program, you incentivize them to try it. So you actually have created an opportunity to get that feedback.
So is the feedback then, like, is there a way on the app to then give the feedback, or is it just, are people interested enough and then I have the data because they're checking in that they purchased that, or how would that work?
Yeah, it can be any and all of those things. You could have a chat wall that you could ask people to leave their feedback on it after they've tried your product. You could generate an incentive for them to leave a review if they've completed the loyalty reward program. You could get them to submit a testimonial. There are many different aspects that you could incorporate into the loyalty reward program to get that information.
Awesome. Okay. I really like that idea because, people ask me all the time, well, what do you think about this, Amber? And we just I literally just had this conversation with you, Keith, before we started recording, but people will ask me and I'm like, okay, well, here's my professional opinion as somebody who obsesses over branding. However, I'm not your customer. So what you need to do is go ask your customers what they think and then help you make your decision that way, because they are the people who are giving you money for whatever it is that you're offering, whether that's a product or a service. And so they've already justified, or they've already proven themselves to be the people that you need to make your decisions based on. And I just see, especially women, because we love getting feedback. Men are like, fire than look. Women tend to be like, oh, let me ask everybody that I know. I'm going to ask my best friend. I'm going to ask my mom, and I'm going to ask everybody. And it's like, all those people are not the people who are actually giving you money. So if you had an app and you had a loyalty program, and say you wanted to start carrying a new line, let's just say you're a salon and you are trying to decide if you're going to make the investment in carrying Kevin Murphy. Now, everybody knows that Kevin Murphy, you have to get a certain minimum in order to carry that in your salon. Well, everybody who's in this industry, let's say that. If that feels like it might be a stretch to you because you are not at a place in your business where you use that volume of product, but you have a hunch that if you did use Kevin Murphy, that would actually bring new customers in because you have this premium brand, then maybe you could set something up where you do like a Kevin Murphy promotion. And so it's not just selling the product, but it's also doing Kevin Murphy treatments. And if you use this tool to test that out, then you can see, is this something sustainable that I can invest in long term, as opposed to just guessing, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. I mean, that to me is like gold, especially when you're dealing with inventory. Like that's a risk. Anytime that you're trying to promote a new product, that's a risk for your business. And so why not mitigate that risk with something like this, where you can just make it easy for people to help you figure out what your best decision is?
Absolutely. It also gives you an opportunity to say, work with a vendor to say, hey, I'm interested in your product line. Why don't we do a promotion together for a month? And I'll do a loyalty reward program. We can see how our customers react to the product line or the service that we're offering, and determine whether we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us.
Totally. For sure. Yeah, because these are big decisions. And this is, I think, the fear of failure is a huge common theme in the Bombshell community. And so I'm always looking for ways to help our bombshells like mitigate risk. How can you become more certain about this decision that you're about to make? How can you set this decision up that whether it's a win or whether it's a learning opportunity, that in the end, it's not going to crush your business, right? And so it's not necessarily about taking baby steps. It's about taking strategic steps towards the final solution. Of course, we don't want to, overanalyze anything or hyperanalyze things, but there are tools that you can use like this or SurveyMonkey. There's lots of different ways, but to me, it's like the whole app thing at this point in 2018, as we're coming at the end of the year, like for me, it was a no-brainer because everybody has their phones out all the time. Like look around where are you right now? If you're not sitting by yourself, if you're anywhere in public or you're at the gym or whatever, you probably are listening to this on your phone. Look around the room. How many people are on their phone? Count it.
Absolutely. I mean, just sit in a Starbucks and you'll see how many people are looking at their phone.
A doctor's office, at a red light, like even places they're not supposed to, in the carpool line, everybody's on their phones. So if you were to send a push notification like, oh my gosh, Kevin Murphy is now at our salon. It's buy one, get one, 20% off or, whatever. I don't know what Kevin Murphy allows you to do, but it's, or get a free shampoo if you, buy a keratin treatment or whatever. That's something that will pop up on their phone and then you can see if that's a good decision or not. And you're also saying like, hey, you're our customer, so we're going to hook you up. Like, that's awesome. I love programs like this. And half the time I don't even know that I'm involved in them. And I hate, oh my gosh, I hate having to carry around a business card that gets stamped or hole punched. Like that's not going to live with me. There's no space in my stuff for that. I most of the time just want to carry around like my Amex and my bank card and my ID. I don't want to have to put 38 different business cards in there to keep up with my loyalty programs. Like that's.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember my wallet used to be so thick with all those cards that I would carry them around, or then they would get worn down because of the sweat or whatever that was in the in the wallet, and then you can't even read it, or
you can't even see.
Yeah, it's really bad. The other thing I think that's interesting too is we do so much with our phones today that we don't think about, but they're just becoming habitual types of decisions that we use the phone to accomplish things. And a good example is I use Apple Pay a lot when I'm making a payment. I don't pull the credit card out anymore. I use my phone, I make a payment, and it's done.
Yep. And it's for me too, like when I leave the gym, half the time I just have like my phone and my keys and my ID. Like that's it. And then I'll be like, oh, I want to go to Smoothie King. And then I've driven there before and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even have my wallet, but I have my Apple Pay. And so it's kind of like, I want to be that easy for other people too. Like I want to be the solution before there's even a problem. So that's, when you are solving problems for people before they even know that they have the problem, that's when you're really committed to your customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you have to understand people are being trained by big box retailers that rewards are commonplace, that you come to expect them. So as a business owner, if you're not showing that appreciation to your customer and another business is, there's always the potential that they could go there instead of your business because they know they're going to get a reward.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And so obviously I'm totally pro small business, or I would not commit so much of my waking hours to empowering small business owners. But at the end of the day, like for somebody like me, convenience is my number one. I've learned that this many years in, I'm like, okay, convenience is my jam. And so I know a lot of people are like, oh, you should not shop at Amazon because they're destroying small businesses. But to me, it's like, well, the small businesses around me, A, don't even carry this. B, I'm not going to leave my house or be able to get there in 48 hours to even get it. So Amazon Prime delivers it right to me when I'm, back to back to back to back, or I'm traveling or whatever. I have a crazy, insanely packed life, like morning to night. There's some nights I sit down and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's the first time I've sat down all day. It's time to go to bed. And so to me, it's not about like being a small business and keeping things simple. The reality is that you are competing for my dollar with the big boxes. You can't say, oh, that's not my competition. That's a big business. If somebody's giving a big box store their money instead of giving it to you, you are competing. And so doing an app program, doing a loyalty program, engaging your audience in a more meaningful way, in a more intimate way, Like, I'm going to go do business with a friend, even if it takes me, like, if I have to go out of my way to do it. Right. So I might go to the local, and I'm just picking this. We don't even have a local like tech store where I live, but let's just say there was one. If I knew the owner, if the owner was sending me things or rewarding me for going there, and then I would start creating a relationship with that person, and I wouldn't go to Best Buy and I wouldn't order on Amazon. I'd go out of my way because of relationship. And that would supersede my need for convenience. So
Yeah.
I mean, you got to play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And most customers would rather buy locally if they can.
Absolutely.
For one reason alone, you get instant gratification because you get it quicker.
Right.
The other thing is that when you have the ability to offer loyalty and build that relationship, you strengthen the opportunity for that person to find you more genuine and more real, and they're likely to want to spend their money with you because they like those kinds of relationships versus, if I order something on Amazon and it comes and it's wrong, then I have to call customer support, and then I'm probably going to talk to somebody in India or China that doesn't even speak my language. It's just not nearly as good as that relationship that I could have if I'm going to, go shop locally. And a lot of customers, it's kind of been a role reversal. They used to go into the store and they would look at something and then they would look it up online and then they'd buy online. But now they look it up online a lot of times and then they'll go into the store to see if they have it. And so that's a plus. If you've got a loyalty reward program that you can entice them while they're physically in your store, they're less likely to go back to that online retailer and buy there.
Yeah, exactly. I always kind of compare it to when you go to a restaurant and the bartender and the owner and the maitre d', and it's like your Cheers, right? For those of you who are old enough to know Cheers, and where everybody knows your name. And when I'm working with restaurants, I'm always like, your number one job is to make every single person who comes into your establishment feel like a regular. That's what people crave. Otherwise, they could just go to a Charlie's, right. And they'll be more forgiving if your service is a little bit slow. They'll be more forgiving if their food isn't perfect because they feel like they belong there and they're family, so they can deal with it. And that's a whole different experience. But when I'm working, and everybody knows I work, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people listen to the show know that I work a lot in hospitality. That same experience is something that needs to be carried over and over and over and over again. And when you're a more retail store, or maybe if you're not something that is like as an intimate experience as eating, this is another way that you can build on the value of the relationship that you have with your customers, where it's not just about using their name when they come in. It's about using their name all the time. It's about communicating with them in the way that they want to be communicated with. It's about making things convenient for them. It's about notifying them, hey, there's this boutique in Lebanon, Tennessee, Eddie and Oscar's. Joy was one of my first bombshells, and she has this amazing thing that she does when she wants to sell things pretty quickly. She's got like a private group where she does that. And so I got an amazing pair of boots for next to nothing, and I'm in love with them. And I would have never known that if she wouldn't have been loyal to her loyal shoppers, right? And so that's something you could easily do in an app. Super easy.
Absolutely. And I'll be covering some things about how to leverage that from a marketing standpoint. Get into this. So you'd asked me about, how to use a loyalty reward program to attract customers.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important aspect of what loyalty does. It attracts new customers, but it also attracts your existing customers because they feel valued, as a repeat buyer in your store. How do you attract those customers? Well, obviously you could promote your loyalty reward program on social media. You could promote it in your app, wherever you advertise, whether it's television, radio, print. any of those places, you can let your prospect and your customer know you have a loyalty reward program. You could also offer loyalty rewards to other businesses' customers through something like geofencing or geotargeting. Let's just say, for example, I'm in your city, which is Lebanon, and you have provided me your app, and I drive by the dry cleaners business, and something pops up that says, come in for 10% off your dry cleaning. You've just offered me kind of a loyalty reward of a different kind by associating me an opportunity to get another reward at another business that you've kind of built a relationship with.
Yeah.
And so that message would pop up as part of the app doing geofencing type of marketing. You can also host an event to promote your loyalty reward program. People love to come to events, and if you hosted an event to talk about your rewards program, and people would be likely to come out. And once again, that's an opportunity to get them into your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the geofencing is pretty powerful as well. I noticed that this happens on a lot of car GPSs. So like you drive past like Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then something will pop up on the GPS that says like, hey, today, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and you get a value meal for $4.99. And I'm like, what? How does it do that? And you can do that with the app now, right? So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's other technologies that you and I will be talking about down the road that also provide opportunities to do that type of marketing using beacons and other kinds of cool technology. But yeah, I mean, every time I drive by a Starbucks, it pops up, and they could make an offer of any kind, when that happens. So geofencing is a very, very powerful tool that mobile apps provide you to draw fences around anything. I could draw, and I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, I could draw a fence around the Titans stadium, and anybody who has my app that drives by that stadium would get a notification.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, and I could in essence say, hey, join my loyalty reward program as part of that notification. So,
and what if you are a restaurant within drive time distance of the stadium, and you put a geofence around the stadium on game day, and then you say like, celebrate the Titans with us after the game, 2-for-1 beers at XYZ pub. Like, yep. That's amazing.
Yep.
Mind blown. Right. So is like, then afterwards, everybody's like, hey, where should we go next? I'm not ready to go home. We just won. We want to celebrate. Well, they're probably going to go to the place where they know that there's a 2-for-1 deal. And the thing is, because I've even thought about this, I know some people are like, oh, that's kind of creepy. Like, I don't want people to know where I am or, whatever. But the reality is the large majority of your app users, first of all, you could turn off push notifications. So if somebody doesn't want it, they just want to have push notifications. So the ball's still in their court. But the majority of your app users are going to want free. They're going to want discounts. They're going to want to know when they can get something that the general public doesn't know about. Like, this is not you pushing anything on them. That's another thing bombshells have a hard time with is, I don't want to be pushy. You're not being pushy. You are offering opportunity to your most loyal customers. This is a value that you're adding to them. So I want you to always look at it like that. Like, what kind of value can I add? You don't want to send push notifications or go crazy with, geofencing or anything and be annoying about it. But in the right pace, you can become a rock star in your customers' eyes.
Absolutely. Everything has to have balance. And once again, if you bring value to someone, they're not going to feel like you're being annoying or bothering them.
Right. Yeah. Value first.
Yes.
So on the note of free, like, how much free should you give? Because I know, again, bombshells are probably, if they were going to err on one side, they would probably give away too much. So what's a good balance there?
Well, free is a great marketing strategy, and it's used over and over again. And there's many ways that you can use it. I'll just list a few things. But to begin with, free provides a point of least resistance to engage a prospect or an existing customer to consider your product or your service. If you're going to give me something for free, I'm likely to be resistant to it because people like free. So what are some things that say why free is a smart move? Well, you can offer a free drink. You can offer a free promotion. You could have a contest to give something away for free. You could offer a free consultation, a free meal, a free haircut, a free product sample, a free shirt, a free wine glass for completing a wine tour, a free trip, a free pastry, free tickets like to movies or a concert, or how about a free app? All of those are great opportunities to take advantage of why free is a great marketing strategy.
Or what about like a free scalp massage with a blowout, like a shampoo and blowout? Is that free enough to just add a free service onto something that's paid?
Absolutely, you can do that. And that's kind of what we'll get into about what kinds of loyalty programs can you offer. If you want to go ahead and move into that, that's kind of how we utilize paid and free together, as part of a loyalty program. So just to list a few different types of programs, and I'll touch on that one when we get to it, is like we talked about earlier, a loyalty stamp program where you used to carry a card around. Now you can do that in the app. And so let's say that I have a music store or a salon and you just get a haircut. Then I could stamp your card and say, hey, after 6 haircuts, you get a free one. And basically what that's doing is that's tying your purchase of getting a haircut to ultimately getting a free one.
Yeah.
Okay. The other kind of loyalty program could be a tiered program. So, for example, you could say, okay, if you buy a haircut, you get a point, say it's 2 points. And then if you get a facial, that's 10 points. And if you buy a shampoo, that's 5 more points. And when you reach certain points, you can redeem your reward. And that reward, like you mentioned, could be something like get a free facial or a free scalp treatment or whatever you want to make that reward. The point is that you're building incentive for them to continue to make purchases repeatedly to earn that reward. And they can pick and choose when they want to. You could do the tiered program. I could say, I want to redeem it at the first level or that last third level because there's a bigger reward at the third level than there is at the first. Let's say it's 10% at level 1, level 2 is 20, and level 3 is 50.
Okay, so let me stop you there because like that messes with my mind. So who keeps up with that? How do you track that? Is that like in a logarithm that already exists in the app, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, the app tracks everything. So you can go in, you build the loyalty reward program, and then each time that they earn the reward, it lets them know the progress of where they are in earning their reward. And then once they have reached the number of items that you've asked them to participate in, then the employee can now encourage them to redeem it. And they can redeem it inside the app. And then everybody knows. The customer knows they've redeemed it. The business owner knows because they have this incredible analytics on the back end of the app that tells them, hey, this customer has redeemed rewards like 6 times. And what rewards did they redeem? So now you can understand what rewards people want to redeem and take advantage of versus the ones that don't seem to do so well.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, when I'm nerdy and I like to have data that supports things. So the fact that everything that you try, and we talk about this, let me back up. If you've read The Bombshell Businesswoman, How to Become a Bold, Brave Female Entrepreneur, there's a whole chapter in there about the red lipstick marketing plan. So it's the maximum amount of impact for the least amount of effort. So I say it's like, you just put on your sunglasses and some red lipstick and then everybody thinks you're put together, but you didn't do like a full face of makeup with contouring and all that kind of stuff. And so, but when you're doing that, you have to be able to measure if your red lipstick efforts are working or not. Otherwise you're just, shooting in the dark. And the thing with the app is like everything is being tracked. Every click, every time somebody opens something. I mean, like it's incredible. And if you're not if you don't really look at the analytics of your website, which are pretty complicated, if I was being honest, I'm a nerd and I get lost in there. But the app analytics are like super straightforward. So something works or it doesn't. And then you keep doing it or you stop. Like, it's really easy.
Yeah.
And that's like the number one thing when I'm talking about marketing with the realistic marketing plan. It's fine that you create a plan, but if you don't create a plan to track it, you may as well just do nothing because you really don't know it's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great because you get the opportunity to look at each individual user in your app and see what's going on as far as their participation with loyalty programs. If you have an e-commerce portion, how much money are they spending? When's the last time they were in the app? There's so much good information there. And then you have the ability with push notifications to even reach out to that one individual and say, hey, I noticed you got your recent reward of blah, blah, blah. Thanks for shopping with us. We appreciate your business. Boy, that's a nice personal touch that usually the business owner wouldn't know that someone redeemed a reward in their store, typically because the customer engaged with the employee and not the owner.
Yeah. Or what if it got to be the holiday season and you could go into your app and look at the people who bought the most from you or engaged the most with you or checked in the most, and you took like your top 20 customers and then you gave them like super cool Christmas presents. Like, what would that do? A couple years ago, I got a handwritten note at Christmas time signed by all of the managers at Kroger, the grocery store. And they said, thank you for being one of our most loyal customers. And so I asked one of the managers, I'm like, how did I get that card? Like, that was a nice touch. And he said, well, or she rather, she was like, well, you must spend a whole lot of money here because that only went out to the top, whatever percentage of our customers. And I get a lot of organic food. I get a lot of grass fed stuff. And we spend probably way more on food than we do anything else on our budget. But that built so much loyalty with me that when other people would like complain about their experience at Kroger, I'm like, they're awesome. And here's the 28 reasons why. And it was just a handwritten note. So like you can use this data like a big store like Kroger did to build loyalty with me.
Absolutely. And that data is exportable. So you could send them an email, you could send them a push notification. There's so many ways that you could communicate with your most loyal customers.
Yeah, that's super awesome.
You also could add a second loyalty program for your better customers. And we'll get to that a little bit later as, an effective way to create loyalty programs multiple times. But, some of the other kinds of programs that you can build loyalty around is you can build loyalty around events. You could build loyalty around what month it is in the year. You could build loyalty around a holiday. You can build loyalty around purchasing habits. You can build loyalty based on points or based on dollars spent. You can offer loyalty based on downloading the actual app itself by giving them an immediate stamp on their card, for example. You could build loyalty around completing a task like we talked about in your speaking engagement, or if it's, for example, that Starbucks illustration where I said if I buy a coffee and then I buy a specific frappuccino and then maybe I buy a specific bakery item or breakfast sandwich, they end up giving me a certain amount of reward for doing that tasks. You could do a loyalty based on taking a tour. We talked about there's maybe doing something with strategic partners. A good example would say you were a group of restaurant owners and you were all wanting to get more business in your stores. You could create a tour so that each time they would go to each one of those locations, they would redeem a reward for making a purchase of some kind of food or drink or item that's on the menu. And at the end of the reward, you collectively could give them another reward for doing all of that. So businesses who have symbiotic relationships could get together and create loyalty reward campaigns around each other. And you can offer preferred loyalty reward programs. Let's say you're a salon and you've got someone who's just been redeeming your haircuts. And now you could say, well, look, if you part of our preferred program, that's going to allow you to get notifications about special products and offers and greater discounts above and beyond the haircut reward program. Awesome.
Such great ideas. I mean, I I have you, so I don't have to write all this down and think about like, how can I do it? Because you are the captain of my app ship. But if I was a listener, I would be so hardcore taking notes right now and Googling things and researching and asking my staff. And I mean, there's just so many opportunities here that it really is limitless. So I would say the challenge is more like picking a couple things to implement and see how it goes and try to grow that. And then, continuously add on to just create more value for your customers. That's amazing.
Well, absolutely. And the point is all of those ideas that I just, rambled on about, they're all ideas that give you the ability to create loyalty all year. So you don't have to go, I'm going to run out of ideas about how to create a reason for someone to want to be in my loyalty program. We can, and I'm here to help all of these bombshells to know that there are so many ways to get creative with loyalty reward programs. You'll never run out of ideas of how to do it, especially if you work with me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I can guarantee y'all, Keith is never short on ideas. Ever. It's like, how did you even think about that? Like my brain doesn't even work that way. And I'm a pretty creative girl. So, yeah, for sure. So wrapping up, what's one more like major takeaway that we need to know about loyalty programs?
Well, a lot of people say, well, how do I launch an effective loyalty reward programs, especially with a mobile app? And I think there are many different ways that you can do that. And I'll just list a few of them. You can offer an instant discount for the app download. So if they're checking out at the register, you could say, hey, if you download our app, I'll go ahead and give you 10% off that purchase right now.
Yeah.
And so hey, that made it easy for them to download your app. And then you have the opportunity to get them to participate in the loyalty reward program you have in your app. You could give them an instant punch on their card just by downloading the app. So that's even an extra incentive. Say, look, if you download the app, I'll give you 10% off and you'll already earn a reward. And a lot of times what I do is say, have a second option to that first punch, and then they get another reward. So the more quickly you offer them these rewards, they get in the habit of saying, I love this. I want to be able to earn all these rewards. You could host an event to promote your loyalty reward program. And again, offer, an incentive for them to come to that. Putting up signage around your establishment to promote loyalty rewards programs in your store, in the restrooms, in the hallways, educating your employees to talk about the reward program with the customers when they're checking out or they're engaging with them. Say, hey, do you know about our loyalty reward program? Some of them might not know. Having tabletops and cards and posters that you can have not only in your establishment, but you could put up in other businesses who might want to be able to work with you to help each other get customers. Promoting your rewards program on social media with QR codes, with web links, offering rewards for them sharing your app and giving referrals to you. You could promote it on a webinar, on a podcast. Just there's so many ways that you can promote a loyalty reward program with an app.
Yeah. And then, I mean, as I think about the amount of content that we push out month over month, which is, almost a requirement, at least for what I do, we're always looking for more ways to talk about our business without talking about our business. We're always looking for ways to, provide value to our audience, meaning people beyond our customers. Obviously, social media is an amazing way to stay in touch with the people who do business with you, but it's also a marketing tool and a customer acquisition tool. And so this is a great way to fill social media content. And you're not saying, buy from me. You're saying, hey, I've got this free thing. Who doesn't love free?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and speaking of how it connects to social media, there's two aspects to it that I think are really, really cool. Number one, if you send a push notification from the app, you can actually have it send that same information automatically to a Facebook or Twitter account without you having to lift another finger to do it. So that's going to simplify your marketing communication for one. The other thing is once the customer earns their reward, they have two things that they could actually do. Number one, they could share that they earned that reward, which people love to do that. They love to tout their they've earned something somewhere with their friends and family. Hey, I got a free haircut or whatever.
Yeah.
And they can do that through social media, but also we can set triggers in the app so that after, let's say, an hour after they've earned that free haircut, it can ask them to leave a review. And that's huge for business owners to get more reviews, because the more reviews you get out on Google and Facebook and LinkedIn and all these other places, the more you get exposure and people find that your business is, somewhere they might want to come and do business with you.
Absolutely. I never eat anywhere. I mean, we travel a lot. I do not eat anywhere if I don't first go read the reviews, because it's not even about the money. It's about wasting the morsels of awesomeness, because we are big foodies. And so what do? You go to Yelp, you go to Open Table, you go to, any of the travel apps and read about it. And so what a great opportunity for people to be able to do that very, very easily for you. So speaking of free, I hear you've got a free offer for our bombshells today.
Yeah, they can follow the link that you'll provide in the notes, and there's going to be a free downloadable PDF. I'm going to let it be a surprise that you can download and learn some information that I think would be helpful in anyone's business for marketing.
Sweet. Okay. So for those of you who are familiar with the Fascination Advantage Assessment, and a lot of you are, because you've done it with me in an audience or, whatever, and maybe we'll do some of that towards the beginning of the year. The power of mystique. Most of us are dormant in it. At least most bombshells that I know are. It's lower on the stream there. And so what Keith just did, because I love to pull the curtain back and always show you, Keith used the power of mystique to lure you into downloading his free worksheet. He said it's going to be a surprise, but here's what I can tell you. So I just want you to be aware of that, because it's a powerful way to, because everybody is tell me not to do something or don't give me all the details. And now I'm on the hunt. So, I always like to teach as we do things. I always call out what I do and tell you why I'm doing it. And so I had to do that for Keith too. Well done, Keith.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right. Well, bombshells, make sure that you go to the show notes. Always, always, always. It's amberhurdle.com/podcasts. Or if you have the app, then you just go to the podcast tab and the show notes are in the app. So right there at your fingertips, as promised. The worksheet that Keith is offering, that's on his website. So that worksheet will not be in the app, but the link to it will be in the show notes in the podcast tab. So if you haven't downloaded the app, you just need to go to Google Play or the App Store, and you can look up. It's called Bombshell Biz, all one word, Bombshell Biz, and be sure to give it a review too in the App Store. I would very, very much appreciate that. We might get some shout outs going on with that too. So go out there, be bold, be brave, be unwaveringly confident, and make a difference in this world. We will catch you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Bombshell Business Podcast. Visit amberhurdle.com for more resources like show notes, and check out thebombshellbusinesswoman.com to grab my book and download the free bonuses.